Might bring up therapy. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. Have you done therapy?
I have. I have.
When and for how
I would
long?
say I appreciated my therapist because I was at a pretty interesting time in my life where I had known that I had a lot of trauma, but it didn't really come out until being in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And my partner at the time was just like, "You need to go to therapy." like I want to build with you and grow with you. You need to go to therapy because you're a good person, but it's something that you're not telling me that's like spilling over. My therapist, we had a really good relationship. I even told her at one time, I was just like, and it was in the beginning, I was like, I really feel like you are not holding me accountable and it makes me uncomfortable because people in general who I feel like will just let anything fly with me, it's hard for me to trust them because I feel like they're going to go to someone else and say what they really want to say and come around me and pretend as if it's all good, and that scares me. She took that feedback, and since then, like, she had like something for me to work on every week. She's like, okay, so by the end of this, by next time I see you, I want to know if you had this conversation. I want to know if you did this and this. And I like that. It turned me on. I'm like, yes, put me in my place.
Yeah.
I like to be told about myself. I don't feel like it's coming from a bad place.
What's good? It's your boy TravTheRealist, and we living in some crazy times right now. I know a lot of you guys seen Jimmy Kimmel got let go of ABC last week on his comments on Donald Trump and the whole Kirk situation, and I'm just really confused about the times we're in nowadays, especially as a content creator. I don't know whether what I say can be taken down whenever they want to or whatnot because we don't really own these platforms. And last week made me really think about ownership and what do we really control. I'm gonna post this video. It's gonna go on YouTube, Instagram. If they want to take it down, they can take it down. I came up in a time where I respect people who voice their opinions, whether it was Dave Chappelle, even Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump, but he can say what he want and get away with it. But when it comes to some of us lower tier people, now it's becoming an issue when it's somebody that you favor. And it's a really concerning time because I think it's important that we know that we are the majority. So we're the one that are controlling these platforms, controlling what go out there. So I don't want to be afraid to use my voice. I think my voice is very powerful. And I'm starting to see some of my content creators, well, my favorite content creators or my favorite podcasters start to say that they are being stifled when it comes to their messages now. So I think we're really in a time where we have to take this serious. I never thought I would see these days. I grew up with Jehovah's Witness. My mom told me that we were living in the last days. I just think like I don't know about that. Maybe they're projecting on us. But the older I get and all this stuff that's going on, we might be, or we might be in a time before it. I just want us all just to come together and just know that at the end of the day, people can't control you or what you say. Only you can control what you do and what you say. And I think it's very important that we use the gifts that God gave us to spread a positive message. So I just want to take the stand and just be like, hey, if you're out there, if you feel scared to talk, don't be, because I'm with you. And we're going to ride out together with this. And I don't want to get too deep on this episode on that, but I just want to take that I want to take this quick little time to speak on that. So now to the show. It's your boy, TravTheRealist, and it's episode number 11 of If You Don't Mind Me Asking. And to be honest, this is going to be a real good episode. I have a real good friend from back in the day, all the way from Willenboro. My girl, Key. What's up, Key?
What's good? What's good? What's up? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. It was eventful. I had a good time, get some good food, some good vibes, sightseeing.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Can, Sauce, can you tell me a little about your weekend? Like what you do this weekend besides get good food?
So, I got some good food, then went to Philly and just walked around, saw sightsee, sat over the water.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, my weekend, I ain't doing nothing but sleep, man. I was tired this weekend. I don't know, the last few days, I've been really out of it. I don't know. I haven't been posting as much as I want to, but I do think sometimes you need to reset and readjust to get back out there. So After today, I'm gonna get really back onto this editing and video. 'Cause I really needed to get some rest in. 'Cause I don't know, I started my fitness journey like 2 weeks ago. So I've been really good on that. I've been doing my nutrition because I've been seeing you do your thing. I've been seeing
Thank
you,
you.
some of my other friends get on their health journeys, starting to be more conscious of what you put into your body, and just seeing that made me be like, you know what, let me get into that mode too. So I appreciate that a lot. So how,
Thank you.
so Hakeem, can you tell me what you do? What's your profession?
So I am a reading, learning, and development specialist. I don't actually work for the school. I work for the state. It's a federal government program where we go into different schools and uh, pretty much pull students who might be 2 or 3 grade levels below and work with them. So we're kind of like the Starbucks in the Target.
Oh, nice. So what challenges are y'all facing right now?
I would say a lot of challenges that we are facing are, students being so far below and feeling like they can't catch up in the classroom space, like they have to be pulled out into a separate space, which, I wouldn't have a job if they didn't need to be put out into a separate space. But at the same time, I feel like if the class sizes were not so large, they wouldn't feel the need to have to pull them off because when you're in elementary school, you have a class size of 29 classmates. I think that that is absolutely ridiculous, especially when you expect for students to behave a certain way. Um, you have to think like these are babies. These are babies, and they're very curious and they have a lot going on around them. So it's hard for them to be in a classroom where there's one teacher teaching all of the subjects. They're sitting in there with that one class teacher all day long, and expected to stay focused, expected to not talk all day long. I'm in the hallways. When I'm in the hallways, I'm hearing sounds off, sounds off, sounds off. And I actually think it's pretty eerie to be in a silent school. It's a school and it's dead silent. And that's in most schools, it's dead silence. A lot of the specials have been taken away. When I was in elementary school, all in one week, I had music on one day, I had PE on the next day, I had art on the next day. I had something different every day. Now they only have, and it depends on what school, because they might not even have that. They might just have PE because they have to. But for the most part, they only have PE and maybe they may have music.
Mm.
But there's no art class. Like the one classroom teacher has to try to implement all that so that they're able to reach the whole child. And you have to think about it. You're in a class with 29 students. They're all learning different. So it's without a doubt that a lot of students are going to be left behind. And it's not that they are, um, developmentally slower. They just learn differently and they're not going to have the chance to advocate for themselves and say, hey, I'm not understanding it that way because the teacher's pressured to move on. So,
And I think an interesting part you said about that is I don't think there's enough teachers nowadays. I saw you post the other day that there was a job position open, but they was paying them like pennies, and it's like, who going to take this job when you paying us pennies to take care of all these kids? So I think that all flows together because growing up, I don't think we was in like that big of a school. Like our school was pretty small when it came to us. But when you go to college, you go to these colleges, you in this room full of 100 kids, 120 kids, and these teachers can't take the time to really delve into you, and you got to really go outside yourself. But at the age that you're teaching, they need guidance. Like they're not adults. So
right.
they need that. They need that reassurance. And what I love about you and what you do is that you are a voice for these kids. I see you advocate for these kids a lot. I see a lot. I seen some previous posts where you're like, you know what, I'm sticking up to the board or whatever to stick up for these kids and their voices as well. And I just want to know where did you get that ability to advocate for kids from? Like where did that passion and fire come from?
I love children. I really do. And that's really just where the passion comes from. I remember having my voice as a child. I remember my aunt would tell me, like, you can't tell High Kid anything. Like, I knew when I was being disrespected. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of children, or a lot of children are told, um, I feel like, I'll say it like this, a lot of adults take advantage of a child being a child and feel like they can speak to them a certain way. But if a child had that same reaction, just being honest, just saying something honestly, an adult is going to get offended and punish that child. And I don't think that that's fair. So I've always just had it in me to advocate for children. I felt like, people feel like that they don't need to apologize to children, or they don't need to, or children can't speak their mind. And I feel like that dims their light. And it shows in adulthood, because it's a lot of, I was actually thinking about this earlier, a lot of adults do not know how to advocate for themselves. They don't. So I just like advocating. I
No,
just know when I see something, I'm going to say something.
and that's real because I don't think I started speaking for myself till after college. Because you kind of get that, oh, you got to listen to your elders, you got to do what you're told. And sometimes, like you said, kids are smarter than what a lot of adults give them credit for. But
Yes.
not to play devil's advocate, is there a fine line between a kid being curious and just speaking their mind and also them just being disrespectful? Is there a fine line? Do you know that? Or is it just like you just feel like every kid just need an outlet to go out?
I think we all have it in us when we are curious and we're disrespectful. And it's a way of how you go about it. I feel like children are going to be, they're going to get a harsher treatment for being disrespectful than an adult, I guess, so to speak. So it's just like, come at them the same way you would kind of come at, your colleague or your coworker. If you feel like they're being disrespectful, there's a way that you can say it. You don't just punish them, because they're not going to be able to learn the real lesson and what came from that disrespect. They're just going to, I feel like, take it to 10 and become worse as an adult. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to work with people. They're getting fired for you know, just not knowing how to speak up for themselves. So it's a way, I feel like, if a child is being disrespectful, it's a way to say something to them so that they know, okay, like, this is what can happen. I think it's very important to be super honest with children. I used to tell my students all the time when I was teaching first grade, you guys need to get ready for the real world. The real world is not easy. And one of my parents would come in and observe me, and she was like, "I like how you don't talk to the kids like they're babies. I like how you talk to them like y'all are the same, like y'all are peers." And I was like, "You have to, because I don't want them to go out into the real world and feel defeated and feel lost, like they had no clue what to expect. I need them to know what to expect."
Okay.
So,
So you from North Carolina, right? Or South Carolina?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. So how was the teachers there when you was growing up?
I loved my teachers. I remember my second grade teacher, Kenya Sewell. We knew her first name. I'm the same way. All of my kids knew my first name. I liked the way that she made learning fun. She was very honest with us, the same way how I am. I think I got a lot of that from her. Um, so yeah, I felt like I knew all of my teachers personally. I can remember something from all of my teachers, like my music teacher teaching us how to play the recorder. He was very real with us. He was very raw with us. My art teacher teaching us long strokes versus short strokes. Like, I remember everything in elementary school and even in middle school. We had a lot of fun with our teachers. Our teachers were very real and raw. So
I ain't experienced that until high school. Like until Mr. Carey class, Mr. Shield. Those are the classes that was like my first where it was like, oh, these teachers are cool and actually treating us like we have a brain in our head. I can't say that for everybody. I will say in elementary school, I had one teacher named Miss Wilson. Now, I didn't love her, but I respected her because she really cared about me learning. Like, she would show up to my house all the time every time I did something wrong. And I come to find out her and my mom were like college best friends back in the day. So they was real
okay.
tight. But I knew for a fact that she did it because she cared. But she was really hard on me, like real hard on me. She was like, I know you can do better. I know you can do better. And I appreciated that because she did push me a lot. But when it comes to just somebody treating me like equal, I don't gonna say Mr. Carey, Mr. Shield did it, but in those classes, I actually had fun in those classes. I was like, wow, like they're teaching me in a way where I'm not used to. I'm pretty sure you remember the first day in Mr. Carey class where he had them books. And he was like, these are the books they want you to learn. He threw them across the class. He was like, these are the books you're going to learn. I was like, oh, we in a real class. Are we in college? But I don't know. I thought that was
Yeah.
cool. That was like my first real experience when it came to like going outside myself. So you say you're in a charter school and things like that, but if the government is funding it, like why like how can we get them to I don't know, raise y'all wages or what. 'Cause I feel like teachers deserve so much more because y'all literally, I'm not gonna say taking care of people's kids, but y'all taking care of people's kids most of the days. Like that's what y'all do. My sister, she's an educator out there. She want to be a superintendent one day. She's going to school for that right now, and she tell me all the time, like, yeah, like it's different than what it was back in the day, and especially in black schools, they put a lot more barriers up than other schools, just to say the least. So I don't know, like how can we come together to kind of, I don't know, like help raise the value of y'all?
I think it depends on the community, the parents in the community. Like they have to really care. You asked me before, like, what do I think the difference is between school nowadays and back in the day? And I felt like people cared more about teachers back in the day. Like people, trusted the teachers more back in the day. Nowadays in charter schools, there's a script. Teachers aren't even creating their own curriculum. They're not even creating their own lesson. They're literally reading and have to internalize a script. They actually practice during PD these scripts. And it's just like, you don't even trust me to teach my class, but you hired me to teach a class. So they don't really care about, in my opinion, the teachers, they care. I don't even feel like they care about the students. I feel like it's more so about the numbers and what it looks like. I think it's more about an optics game than uh than really the depth of it, as far as like, these are our future. These are the people who are going to be our doctors. These are going to be our community leaders. Like I don't think that they realize that or think about that anymore. So
So do you
I
think it's
think
different? Do you think it's different in these white communities though? Do they care?
I wouldn't know. That's the sad part. I really wouldn't know. I really wouldn't know.
Okay.
I'm at a private school where it's a pretty mixed group. I'm actually even the only learning and development teacher in that building. So the only Black learning and development teacher in that building. So I even told my friend, like, I feel like a star sometimes because people get culture shocked. Even like the few Black students that are in there, they want to be pulled by me because they don't have any Black teachers at all. I feel like they're also kind of playing a number game too, especially with them not having a teacher already. They've lost two teachers already. The year just started, and the teacher that I posted about, with the position that I posted about that they were hiring for, they just filled it, but he still hasn't come in. So a lot of that happens a lot of the times where they'll hire someone and the person that they hire will come in and change their mind. So we're still waiting to see if he's actually going to come in and take that position. This class already has had 3 teachers, and
Are
it's
they
only
are
September.
they changing their mind because of the kids, or they changing their mind because of the pay?
It could be the pay. I don't think that it would be because of the kids. The kids are good kids. Like they're kids. You can't really fault kids. I feel like one of a few of the teachers have a hard time with managing their class because it's such a large size, and I think that they have to remember that. One of my teachers came up to me and she was telling me that she was having a hard time playing a video for the students because it was about, I believe it was about 9/11, and she said that they kept laughing and kept laughing. I said, well, listen, I actually talked about brought up Mr. Carey. I said one time my teacher played a video in class, and one of the characters himself, and I started laughing. And I remember Mr. Carey was like, Hakia, stop. And I told her, I was like, the only reason I laughed is because I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't ready for that. And I have nervous laughter. And she was like, I didn't think about that. So it's just like, it's so much going on that their automatic response, because it's so many kids, is anger, is punishment, is like a negative. They assume the worst. And I think it has to be flipped and instilled in teachers nowadays to assume the best, because these are just our babies, and they're gonna, if you're not teaching them intentionally about their reactions and you're just getting mad at their reactions, then it's just gonna escalate.
So, my question to you is this: do you feel parents can do a better job when it comes to teaching their kids outside of school? Because
Absolutely.
I think that's a big thing where when I was growing up, whether it was right or wrong, my dad said, I believe the teacher. He was like, teachers shouldn't be calling me about what you're doing. But nowadays, it's almost like parents are taking these kids' sides and going against the teachers. So I don't know where the disconnect came. Well, let me rephrase it. I do know where it came from because I personally feel like we all still have a hurt child in us somewhere. And a lot of us went through
Mhm.
something that we didn't like when we was younger. And when we have, I guess, a kid of our own, I don't have a kid myself, but I'm assuming when they have a kid of their own, they're just like, I don't want my kid to ever go through that again. Whereas almost like they're
Mhm.
projecting their past on into their kids, where it'd be like, no, like it might be a little bit different now than what you experience. Nowadays, I
Mhm.
see, I work in hotels. I see a kid knocking things over, breaking glass. I go talk to the parent. They defending the kid. It's like, nah, my kid ain't do that. I'm like, I have film of your kid just doing it. Like, my dad always told me, I know my children. So if I know I get a call
Mhm.
about a certain subject, I know when to talk to you and when not to talk to you. Certain things my dad told me he's like, you know what, I know that's not you. I'm not gonna bother with it. And other things he was like, I know who you are, Traven. I know you're
Yeah.
lying right now. And I don't know whether it goes back to where maybe parents don't know their kids anymore because of this technology, giving them iPads, giving them
Mhm.
phones so young. It kind of make that disconnect. But I do feel like parents can help you guys out a lot more too when it comes to the situation.
Oh, yeah. I'll say a few things on that. I'll say it's on the teachers to really build a connection with the parents, which I took very seriously. I didn't, the last school I was at, we didn't even have time to check in with the parents before the students came. And I said something. I said, I'm not bringing these kids into my classroom and I haven't even met their parents. I wouldn't, as a parent, want to bring my child to a school where I don't know their teacher. So I think it's important for the teachers to be intentional about building those relationships with the parents and vice versa. Parents need to be intentional about building a relationship because it's almost co-parenting. Like I need to know who my child is with all day long. And when you have a lot of parents, that can be hard. And when you have a lot of deliverables, you can feel burnt out to where like I have to do all these tasks. I don't feel like at the end of the day calling the parent to check on them and telling them, how Johnny's day was or what he did good and what he did bad. So then like the only time that you're for a lot of cases, the first time that parents hear from the teacher is for something bad because they didn't have time to call them, check on them at least, a couple of times out the week. Some of these schools, they don't even dismiss with the teachers anymore. Like we used to dismiss with the teachers. So that way I'm seeing a parent every day because you have to pick up your child from me. Now, like the dismissal is totally different where, they go somewhere else, teachers doing their thing, the teacher's done for the day, and all the students are dismissed from like a gym or something. So it's just like all of that factors in. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. Yeah.
So how do you deal with a difficult parent?
Um, just being honest, being real. I think it's important to stay even and not match energy because it's their child. Like they're going to take that personally. That's their baby. So if you're trying to compete with the parent, you're not going to be able to be trusted, and you need that trust. Like you want to be able to build that trust. Like that's something that you should take pride in as a teacher, or in whatever position you are in education. You should take pride in children trusting you and parents trusting you. And I think a lot of people have egos where they want to battle and they want to be right. And it's just like you can be right, but again, delivery is everything. How you say something is very important because you don't want to burn that bridge, especially depending on what time of the year it is, the beginning of the year now. A parent is going to want to take their child out. I had a parent who wanted to take their child out of my classroom because the first time I called her, unfortunately, was for something bad. So her and I had to have a conversation where I'm like, look, like I'm on your side. I had to be honest with her. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't have time. Same spill I just gave you to do this. And she was like, you know what? School is. I know it. Like so we ended up getting on each other's good side because we found a common ground. Like I had to be real with her. Like I wish I didn't have to call you first for something bad. Like I didn't mean to do that. These weren't my intentions, but because of how extreme it was, I couldn't not let you know. So just being able to, take away your ego, be honest, and kind of put yourself in their shoes. I think it's important with dealing with difficult parents. You're not going to always win, and you just got to take it on the chin.
Okay.
Everybody's not gonna like you. Sometimes you might have to reach out for extra support, and it might be somebody who can deal with the situation better than you, and that's okay. You just gotta take it on the chin.
So, do you want kids?
I do.
Okay. I ain't know whether you could be like Miss Green and she like, I don't want no kids at all. She's like, I'm happy with me and my man. We doing good, Trey. I'm like, all right, Miss Green, and I feel you. So do you know how many kids
Yeah.
is there a limit? Or are you just like, hey, whatever God bless me with?
I would say whatever God's blessed me with /2.
Okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
My last question to you, Key, is like, when did you where do you get this confidence from? Like like who put this confidence into you?
I don't know. I think I was
Was
born with it.
was it your
I literally,
grandma who like I love your confidence. Like you just to me you
thank you.
always, even if you don't purposely do, I always just feel so much power from you when I talk to you. Even from high school, I used to feel that way.
Thank you. I honestly like to instill confidence in others. I'm a big people person. It's funny because I'm not a people person, but I am like I don't like people, but I love people. Like I like for people to see, know themselves and see themselves and don't not be afraid to be themselves. And that probably stems from me being an educator, wanting to, you know, I had one of my coworkers told me, she was like, all you do is boost the kid's head up all day. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do?
What's wrong with that?
Exactly. Anyway, but that's just what I like to do. Doesn't have to be hype about. You don't have to be a hype about it. Sometimes just you being confident is going to encourage someone else to be confident and feel like I'm this too or whatever. But my aunt, I would say my aunt Kat, she would always tell me I'm a star. She would call me Stara. Um, so she always told me I was a star. I used to sing and dance and rap and things like that. Me and my brother cousins would always dance, and they had a lot of confidence in me. Like they did not play about me at all. Like you're this. Anytime I talk down to myself, they're like, no, like who you are, stuff like that. So I would say my brothers and my aunt for sure. Yeah.
So speaking on that, was it hard adjustment moving to Jersey?
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually used to come up during the summers and the winters, so I did know a few people, like
For
my
real?
cousin Jid. Yeah, I did. I knew Crystal Johnson. We went to the same church. We used to when I would come up during
Do
the
you know she
summers,
live
we
up the
would
street
hang
from
out.
my dad? Like her family live up the street from my dad. That's crazy. Keep going. My bad.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, so yeah, we were cool before I went to Willingboro. When I had actually started going to Willingboro, and I didn't like a couple of the girls around me. I text her that it might be some trouble, and she texts my nana, and my nana showed up to the school probably 5 minutes later. So we go way back. Shout out to her for that because she didn't want me to get in trouble. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I know a couple of people before I actually moved up here, so that kind of made the transition a little bit smoother. Um, but I just didn't know what to expect, but it was very different. I don't know, it was very different.
I think your first year you moved out there, it was I could feel you was kind of adjusting, but after like a year or two, it was like, oh, she's right in with the crew. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Cause I don't
Yeah,
cause reason I say that because I be talking to people and they either say they either loved high school or they hated high school. I loved high school, but my college experience, besides people I met, I didn't really enjoy my college experience too much. Maybe because of football, I couldn't really do what I really wanted to do because I was too scary to do other things in college. But I went to a PWI and I don't know, it was kind of a hard adjustment. So it took me a while to kind of relearn myself or know who I really was. Because when you go to a whole new place, you might think you know who you are until somebody challenge you. You'd be like, oh, like, am I really this person? Or I don't know. So I always like the fact that I seen your progression from going from like, all right, I'm new to this school. Then you went from all right, I'm like, one of the people in the school now. So that's pretty dope to me. But Key, I just wanted to get you on real quick and talk about education. Want to make the episode short. I'm talking to Bria next. If you don't know, I'm talking about Bria. I might bring up therapy. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. Have you done therapy?
I have.
When and for how
I would
long?
say I appreciated my therapist because I was in I was at a pretty interesting time in my life where I had known that I had a lot of trauma, but it didn't really come out until being in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And my partner at the time was just like, you need to go to therapy. like I want to build with you and grow with you. You need to go to therapy because you're a good person, but it's something that you're not telling me that's like spilling over. So my therapist, we had a really good relationship. I even told her at one time, I was just like, and it was in the beginning, I was like, I really feel like you are not holding me accountable, and it makes me uncomfortable because people in general who I feel like will just let anything fly with me, it's hard for me to trust them because I feel like they're going to go to someone else and say what they really want to say and come around me and pretend as if it's all good, and that scares me.
So I'm flopping around now. ADHD. I'm flopping around now. So that was my issue. Was me from high school. I used to say what was on my mind. I would be honest. I would say what was on my mind because I felt like if I'm not being malicious, it shouldn't really affect you. And I think I was too open in high school. Then when I went to college and on, I started realizing that my approach, everybody couldn't take it. And I started hurting people unintentionally that I didn't want to hurt. And I'm just like, I was just saying my real feel. I don't want to say it behind your back, but I say this to your face. And that kind of made me doubt myself when it comes to really speaking to people, even to the day where I have to kind of watch what I say. But then I'm like, am I really being real? Am I being true? That's why I love talking to people like you.
Oh, you're going out. I can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yep, got you.
All right. So I was just saying, like, it made me just start feeling like, damn, like, can I actually be honest with people? And then it takes me to get around people like you, Brandon. I even got people out here like my boy Amon, Ryan, where I can be open and just myself. And I just realized, like, you just gotta kind of learn people and know what you can say, what you can't say. But I kind of miss the old Traven. I miss when I can just be open and honest. I feel like everybody don't receive it like that. Do you come across that at all in your journey?
I do feel like I come around people who feel like, I'm mean because I'm honest. And I just feel like those are not my people because I know I'm not mean. You just got to know, like, I'm not a mean person. And it took for, people who really love me to remind me of that, like, you're a good person. Like, those are just not your people. And I had to just hang up the fantasy of wanting to be accepted by everyone. That's just pretty much what it comes down to. Like, your people are going to accept you, and you just gotta focus on who's riding from you and still be yourself. If they don't accept you, that doesn't mean that you change. That just means that you recategorize them. You probably are going to approach them differently, but you're going to always know, like, I can't go any further with you because you don't really accept me, and I need to be me or else I'm going to suffer. So with she took that feedback, and since then, like, she had like something for me to work on every week. She's like, okay, so by the end of this, by next time I see you, I want to know if you had this conversation. I want to know if you did this, this, and this. And I like that. It turned me on. I'm like, yes, put me in my place.
Yeah.
I like to talk about myself. I don't feel like it's coming from a bad place. I feel like people who tell you about yourself care about you. Like, they want to see you grow, they want to see you thrive, or they want to have a relationship with you. Like, the way that you do this hurts my feelings. Like, if you don't tell me that, that means that you don't care to be around me. You're just gonna do your own thing or whatever.
Do you feel you have that mindset because you come from what you was raised by your nana, somebody older? Because when I say that, it's like my family.
Now again,
huh?
There we go. I can hear you.
So my family, they want to say everything you wanted to hear. They would say things you needed to hear. And that's how I grew up. I grew up from hearing things I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear, whether it was my feelings or not. And it kind of shaped me who I was to the day where I think I was insensitive at one point, and I had to kind of be kind of humble to get some empathy in myself. But then as I look back on it, as you said, you find your right people in your right tribe. And I talked to Bria last, my early episode of this year. I was kicking it with her, and like, we was just having a time, talking freely. And it was like, it's been so long so I could just talk to somebody who just don't get butthurt over everything. Like that's what I hate. Like I hate people who just get butthurt too easily. But I realized that it's okay to have some people who are sensitive. Just got to know where to categorize them at. But I like going back to my people, whether it's you, whether it's Sheldon. Like me and Sheldon bump heads all the time. I posted yesterday. Majority of my friends, we don't agree on things, but it makes us closer in a way. Like we don't like shun each other for it. It just reshape our mindset where it's just like, all right, I know I can talk to you if I want to get different opinion. And that's what I utilize it as. So I don't know. I think you lose yourself and then gain yourself throughout time over and over again. But I'm coming to the time where I'm really starting to accept I'm not a bad person. And I think sometimes people want to make you feel like you're a bad person. And when you know you're not a bad person, and just like, you know what, that's your issue, that's your trauma, whatever triggers you, that's yours. I respect it, but I know for a fact that I am a good person. And I think that's the biggest key to everything.
You're a great person. You're one of my best friends.
Yes.
I'm so happy to do. Like, it's very real. When I even have a friend who calls me, she's like, yo, I'm calling you because I need somebody who's going to tell me the truth. So that makes me feel good. I'm like, I'm glad she knows like that I have good intentions and I have her back. So, and I feel the same way about her. Shout out to my cousin Jay.
Yeah. I'm about to say, because the people who really care about you is going to give you like, it's almost, I'm not saying like we're mentors, but like I like the mentors that I gained were the one that challenged me, not the one that just told me I was doing good all the time. Like, let me know what I'm doing bad. Let me know how I can improve in the areas where I'm weak at. Like, I already know I'm good at certain things. Let me like build me up where it's like I can be whole in a different way. And that's where I go, where it's just like, if I tell you something, I'm telling you something because I'm seeing something that you might not see. And I want to help you kind of gain sight to it. Now, can I choose better words sometimes? Yeah. Like you said, delivery goes a long way. But sometimes it's okay just to talk freely sometimes. Sometimes it's good to feel that way. Well, I'm ending this right here, Key Ray. I appreciate you coming on the show. Any last words?
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being on. I'm looking forward to coming to the studio one of these days, sooner than later. So yeah, I enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, love it. All right, so thank you, Key. On to the next guest. Thank you for watching the video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. We have similar videos above. For exclusive content, please follow our Patreon, which is patreon.com/BearviewMedia. See you next time. Peace.